Hey, what's up? This is Coach Raheen, and today I'm going to talk to you about leadership. I get a lot of questions about leadership. Many of the questions are about how to lead, what's leadership all about. Uh, some people that I hear from are early in their leadership journey, and others are a little further away. So, what I want to do is share with you what I have learned to be some of the most important attributes of leadership. And the reason why the things I'm going to talk to you about are the most important attributes of leadership is because they are foundational. They are the beginning steps, the cornerstones of leadership. And, you know, here's what you ought to know when when you're at the very beginning of leadership. The first thing that you ought to know about being a leader is that leadership is not something that someone gives to you. It's so important that you understand that basic premise because some are leadership title driven, meaning they seek a leadership position, but in their mind or in the back of their mind or somewhere in their head, they've tied the word leader to title. Title being some position that they receive from someone else, or some recognition that they receive from someone else, or something that somebody outside of you is given to you. And the problem with seeking leadership from that mindset is that if someone gave something to you, then they can take it from you. And if you are serious about being a leader, if you really feel leadership in you, and everybody is a leader in their own right, it's just different degrees, but if you aim to be a leader of high quality, a leader that is, highly effective, then you certainly have to know that leadership is truthfully going to come from within. It's going to come from you appointing yourself and you validating yourself as a leader, not someone else saying to you, hey, you're the leader, or you have leadership qualities, or I want you to lead, right? So let's dig a little bit further into first validating yourself and appointing yourself as leader. When you validate yourself or appoint yourself as leader, you are mainly understanding that the first person that you're going to lead is yourself. Whether anybody else agrees or not is irrelevant at that point in juncture. But are you understanding that you are leading yourself? Can you develop a goal, something that you want to achieve, or some result that you want to end up with? And are you able to drive yourself towards that goal? Can you put yourself in position? Can you acknowledge all that is around you, all of the resources that you have outside of you and all of the resources that you have inside of you, and drive those things towards achieving that goal? That's being self-driven. Anybody who does that is a leader, whether they recognize themselves as a leader or not. And the idea is to completely immerse yourself in your own abilities, not in abilities that are given to you or that came to you or have been acknowledged by somebody else. Don't worry about what other people think. Focus on what you know about yourself, because you'll find in your leadership journey that everybody is not going to agree with you. And that's a natural part of it. Every leader worth his salt or her salt understands that you're never going to get 100% agreement. So you don't worry about that. But your checkpoint always is, would you follow you? or are you following you? That's your checkpoint. Now, after you have completely immersed yourself in your ability to validate and appoint yourself and follow yourself and set a goal and attain that goal, get a result, now you are putting yourself in position to lead others. It becomes a natural progression of leading yourself, because when others see you getting results, they think, oh, so he's getting results or she's getting results. Maybe if I do the same thing, I'll get results. That's what I call leading by respect or leading by relationships. The people around you are acknowledging that you're doing something well enough, or they're impressed, they're inspired by what results you're getting, and now they want to become part of that campaign. They want to do what you're doing. That's becoming an influencer. That's that next level of leadership. After you realize that, you know what, I first have to determine that I am worth following and I follow myself. Now others, you're putting yourself in a position where others can follow you. So the next step in that is to understand that there are two different directions that I want to talk about, because I want to balance this out a little bit. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but on one side you have influence, on the other side you have fear. One is empowering, one is uplifting, one is inspiring, one is everlasting. The other one is short-lived, is small, it's a downer. It takes power away from people, it disempowers. And the one that is inspiring and everlasting is the lane of leadership that involves influence, where you are leading others and others are choosing to follow you. They're making a voluntary choice to follow you because of the inspiration that they receive from who you are as a person. And they are interested in furthering your development and their development as a result of being influenced by you, versus the other side, which is fear, where you have a leader who is a leader but has followers because of what they are. The people follow them because they're afraid of what would happen if they did not follow you. Now, the problem with that is the minute the person realizes that they no longer have to be afraid, you're no longer leading them. The gig is up. That person is going to go somewhere where they don't have to feel afraid. Fear can last a long time, but it's not forever. It's not something that if you are leading others with the intention on motivating them through fear, you have to know that it's not going to work. Plus, it creates an insecurity in yourself, because the minute you are no longer threatening others or causing them to act as a result of what they may lose or what may happen to them, the minute you're not doing that anymore, they are no longer afraid of you. And once they're no longer afraid of you, they will not follow you. It won't happen. So you have to spend this tremendous amount of energy trying to force others to follow you as a result of being afraid of you. Okay? So if you are early in your leadership, or if you have arrived and you are the leader of some organization, I encourage you not to use fear to get people to follow you. Use encouragement. It lasts longer, it's empowering, and people will enjoy following you and all of the things that are associated with that. Now, in the process of developing your influence, there's something I want you to keep in mind. Leaders always go first. Leaders always go first, or leaders try to always go first. Okay? That's important, because if you are influencing others and you get yourself in the rhythm of delegating, telling people what to do, that's going to become problematic, because eventually somebody's going to have a thought of, why aren't you doing it? You're asking me to do it, or you're expecting me to do it, but why aren't you doing it? So you want to be encouraged. I encourage you to remember that as a leader, every now and then you need to get in there and go first and do it with them. The idea is, let's do it, not you do it. Or let's do it, not just I do it by myself. Is, hey, fellas, ladies and gents, can you help me? This is what I'm trying to do, a certain thing, and it'll go so much better, and I'll get so much further if I have your help. So let's do it together, right? Understanding that creates a window of opportunity. Now, that opportunity is not just for you, is for others. It's for people to be able to realize that, you know what, I have an opportunity to lead. I have an opportunity to become a leader of myself, to do something to further a cause, to achieve a certain result. Okay. Here is another reason why you want to focus in on going first and remembering the checkpoint. The checkpoint is, would you follow you? It is that leaders understand, bar none, that if you're leading just for the title, right, and you are focusing so hard on the title, you'll miss the opportunity to lead from your heart. You see, your heart is not tied to a title. Your head is tied to a title because it makes logical sense. Oh, title, this is the leader, this is the person I should follow, right? But your heart understands that in order to be effective, in order to get results, the heart understands that you don't need a title to get things. You can win off passion alone. The person who is most driven, the person who has a I'm not going to give up until I achieve my goal attitude, is the one that will eventually win out over anybody with a fancy title. It doesn't matter. You know, you see this happen all the times when you call them the upset, the big upset. When, you know, like in sports, you'll see one team that has the title of, you know, first place. They're the top ranked team, and they get toppled by a team that nobody thought was going to win. The team that nobody thought was going to win, the underdog, will sometimes win over the title ranked team because they come in with the attitude of, I'm going to win no matter what. I don't care about fancy titles. They may not come from the best situations. In fact, you might associate these people with growing up in the quote unquote hood. You know, you see them and you think, well, they don't have the resources that people have in certain affluent neighborhoods, so the cards are stacked up against them. But lo and behold, here they go. They still win. They're winning. They achieve so much just because they're not concerned with a title. So my encouragement to you as a leader, rather you are beginning your leadership journey, or if you're further along your leadership journey, is to not be concerned with a title. Forget about the title and focus on influence. You don't need to have a title to influence others. All you have to do is to put people first. Leaders who are leading others are very concerned about the relationships that they build, especially the right relationships. Right relationships meaning not necessarily that there's a wrong relationship, but more so right relationship in the sense of, if you have a goal, and your goal is to build a car, then you want to make sure that you have relationships with people who know something about cars. It's just that simple, right? So leaders understand, you know, I got to think. I have to focus on leading myself. I have to focus on going first, right? There's nothing more depressing than trying to get someone else to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. So remember, be people driven. Be people driven. Okay. Everybody knows that you need help, and leaders, you learn that very early on, that you can't get anything accomplished without people. So if you want to learn more about leadership, You can reach me at coachraheem.com. Until next time, lead yourself first.